CHF International is an international development and humanitarian assistance organization that works in over 25 countries around the world. CHF's mission is to be a catalyst for long-lasting positive change in low and moderate-income communities around the world, helping them improve their social, economic, and environmental conditions. CHF began in 1952 as the Foundation for Cooperative Housing and spent its first 10 years developing housing for poorer communities in the USA. In the 1960s, CHF began housing work in Latin America. Now, in 2009, CHF's work is entirely international and specializes in bringing stability to post-conflict and unstable environments, and economic revitalization to broken and nascent economies. CHF works with communities to help them direct their own development in the areas of health, economic development, infrastructure and urban upgrading, and emergency response. On December 26, 2004, the second largest earthquake ever recorded erupted off the coast of Sumatra, Indonesia, triggering a series of tsunamis that inundated coastal communities with waves of up to 100 feet high, killing hundreds of thousands of people and obliterating whole towns and communities. CHF International was one of the first agencies on the ground providing shelter and relief for displaced communities, but there was more to be done. CHF's approach to emergency response involves moving into long-term, sustainable development as soon as possible, and that means getting people back to work. One aspect of this was to help with the fishing industry. Markets had to be reconstructed to get local fishermen and sellers back to work.
It was going to be very difficult for myself and my family. I couldn't even think of another job.
CHF's work was not just to repair the old fish markets, but to help create something better than had existed before. As well as creating employment, CHF's healthy markets are cleaner, more sanitary, and safer than those that existed before. Another important aspect of economic revitalization is housing. After living in transitional shelters, the people of Indonesia needed quality houses. Using local materials and community input, CHF built over 1,300 houses.
I'm so happy with my new house. After everything we have been through, we are able to get on with our lives and livelihoods again.
Livelihoods are essential in recovering from a disaster. In just over a year, with a grant from the Chevron Global Fund, USAID, and the Indonesian government, CHF built Aceh Polytechnic, a state-of-the-art vocational training institute designed to play an essential role in meeting the private sector demand for skilled workers. By working with communities, governments, and the private sector, CHF has helped to deliver back to the people of Indonesia the power to direct their own recovery and lives. The Middle East is an area of deep cultural history and also deep divisions. CHF International runs the largest international network of microfinance institutions in the Middle East. We go where banks won't go and lend where banks won't lend. CHF has been running lending programs in Jordan since 1998 as part of an integrated series of development programs encouraging economic growth and countering child labor. MEMCO, CHF's microfinance program in Jordan, is part of a $200 million portfolio of lending programs across 9 countries, including Iraq, the West Bank, and Gaza, Ghana, and Colombia. CHF's lending programs have an average repayment rate of 98%, testament to the drive of people around the world to improve their own economic and living conditions. CHF's clients in Jordan vary from small businesses to the middle market with an average loan size of $2,000. Clients include Sami Asali, who owns a print shop in Amman. Unable to get a loan from a commercial bank, Mr. Asali borrowed money from MEMCO and was able to employ 20 workers in his print shop to produce materials that would otherwise have to be imported. Sasang Kassier was able to expand her beauty parlor in Aqaba, a popular Jordanian tourist destination.
My first shop was small, and I soon realized that I didn't have the most up-to-date equipment to serve my clients well. I heard about CHF's MEMCO, and I took a loan to renovate.
With a second loan from CHF, Saw-san was able to open a second beauty parlor and expand her customer base, and she found herself the recipient of an award for entrepreneurship from Queen Rania of Jordan. HIV/AIDS kills around 2 million people each year, with 3/4 of these deaths in sub-Saharan Africa. In Africa, CHF is working to build resilience and address vulnerability for people living with HIV and AIDS in Kenya and Rwanda.
We want to combat malaria, we want to combat AIDS, we want to combat diarrhea, because our ordinary people are dying.
At this event in 2008, popular singer Yvonne Chaka Chaka, the Kenyan government and corporate partner Vestergaard Franzen, CHF encouraged Kenyans to come forward for HIV testing using incentives of mosquito-proof bed nets and water-purifying life straws. But although this was a one-off event, the aim of CHF's health programs in Kenya is to enable local Kenyan organizations to provide the assistance that CHF has given. So when CHF leaves Kenya, there will be 39 highly trained Kenyan organizations able to help communities deal with challenges posed by living with HIV and AIDS, and to encourage health-seeking behavior. Whether recovering from intractable conflict or natural disasters, constructing shelters or schools, revitalizing livelihoods or economies, or building the resilience of communities facing today's greatest health challenges, CHF International works with communities and individuals worldwide to empower them to direct their own development.